Hey gang, Luke Austin here. It's week 11 of the fantasy football season. Can you believe we're this far into the season already? Getting down to crunch time, you got to put some wins together. So here we go. Let's see if we can help you do just that. We're going to kick it off with quarterbacks as usual. I really like Drew Brees this week against Washington. Drew Brees is, he's just the ageless wonder, I guess. He just keeps putting up crazy numbers and stats and things like that. And against Washington this week, I think he's going to continue that trend. Plus, Washington's given up 9 touchdowns and the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks when the quarterback is at home this year. So pretty crazy stat. Either way, I like Drew Brees a lot. And then if you need a streaming option, just somebody to grab for the week to plug in there, Blake Bortles. He hasn't been the greatest this year, but they've got a really solid offensive line. Their defense is playing well, and they're playing Cleveland. So if you're in a stretch for a quarterback, Blake Bortles, not a bad option this week, mostly because he's playing Cleveland. Moving on to running backs, Marshawn Lynch, beast mode against the Patriots. This week, the Patriots have been giving up big PPR numbers to running backs. Beast Mode's not much of a PPR guy, but remember that terrible, heartbreaking Super Bowl loss that Marshawn Lynch suffered when he was with the Seahawks to the Patriots? He's probably going to want some revenge knowing what type of guy Marshawn Lynch is. I like him a lot this week. Jay Ajayi versus the Cowboys. If he gets into space, the Cowboys are without their big linebacker, Sean Lee. He could run all over Dallas this week, like Jay Ajayi. Receivers, Tyreek Hill at the Giants. Can't really say too much more than that. The Giants, I hate to say it, but it kind of looks like they've given up. The Chiefs are playing really well. I like Tyreek Hill a lot. Larry Fitzgerald's another great option at receiver if he's available or if he's on your bench. Get him in. He just signed a big extension with the Cardinals, which is really cool. And man, he another ageless wonder. He's just putting up all kinds of points and yards and catches all year this year. I really like Larry Fitz. Then if you need a tight end, for some reason, Vernon Davis has been playing really well for the Washington Redskins. So moving along to some guys that I think you should get onto your bench or maybe completely off of your team. Starting off with Brett Hundley, the quarterback from the Green Bay Packers. They're playing the Ravens this week. The Ravens have allowed the second fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks when that quarterback is at home. Brett Hundley's at home. The Ravens' defense has been playing well. I don't like Brett Hundley. Get him out of there if you can. As far as running backs go, Tariq Cohen for the Bears, his production has just completely dropped off. He's seeing way fewer touches than anybody else on the team. If you can avoid relying on him, get him out of your lineup. And finally, Jordy Nelson, wide receiver for the Packers, hasn't had a touchdown since week 5. If you're relying on Jordy, that's going to be tough. Try to get him out or at least move him down to your flex spot. So that's what we have for you for week 11 of the fantasy football season. Just to recap, I really like Drew Brees, sort of like Blake Bortles if you're in a pinch, Marshawn Lynch and Jay Ajayi for your running backs, Tyreek Hill, Larry Fitzgerald for your receivers, and if you're in need of a tight end, Vernon Davis is great. Sit Brett Hundley, Tariq Cohen, and Jordy Nelson. That's your Week 11 fantasy football favorites. Send me your questions for Week 12. Luke at bigfrog104.com. Good luck in Week 11.